Batman 105.
There we
James
go.
Tynion the fourth, Christian Duce, Alvaro Martinez, and Carlo Pugliese on art. Too many artists. Let's just get that out of the way.
There's that. There's the abrupt ending that I did not enjoy. Like, I hate to just jump to the ending, but we have all of this build up with Ghostmaker and how he's a threat to Batman, and their philosophies are so different, and then they just team up at the end.
Also, actually, there's a fourth artist. Danny Mickey is also there.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Although it doesn't mention, inkers. It doesn't mention any inkers, so maybe some of them are just inking. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, either way, yeah, the whole Ghostmaker thing's been kind of weird. Clearly, Tynion's got some interesting ideas planned for him sticking around, which is kind of where we end up at the end of the issue, is that he's going to stick around and try and do things Batman's way and help him in the city, because Batman essentially kind of challenges him, like, hey, how about you prove that it can be done? You know, because he's always been someone who's been sort of having a pissing contest with each other. So,
well, and I hate his logic for, I want to do it just to do it. And he looks down at Batman, who's actually wanting to make Gotham a better place. For Ghostmaker, it comes down to, it's almost like it's just a sport. And I don't know if that justification's enough to make him so aggressively telling Batman that he's wrong. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing here is that Batman's like, you know what? I like the idea of you being around to kind of call me out on my bullshit because Alfred's not here anymore, and I kind of need that.
Yeah.
But obviously, the one rule is you do not kill in my city. That you just you don't cross that line. So I'm interested to see what the dynamic is maybe going forward now. I hate how he was retconned into the backstory, though. I absolutely despise it with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, well, he's Batman with swords. That's basically the difference. Like,
and a different attitude, obviously.
Well, yeah, but like ultimately, we know his name starts with a K, because at the beginning we see him, you know, don't call me by my name. My name's Ghostmaker. So I do like the difference between like Batman having come to terms with that he is Bruce. He's not just Batman all the time, versus Ghostmaker, who that's his only identity.
His name
conversation
is
there.
Camartha. That's his name.
Camartha.
That's what his name
makes
is.
sense.
I did actually quite enjoy Harley talking Clown Hunter down, which is kind of the centerpiece of the issue.
That's the highlight.
Which is Batman frees her so she's able to get up and not be killed. And Harley basically tells Batman to stand back, and she goes in and just tries to talk and basically apologize for any part she played in the death of his parents, and that she's trying to do better, and that she is a therapist, and she tries to, you know, it works. She makes a point of asking Batman his name, and I like that, you know, because the text for Clown Hunter's always been different. His lettering's always had this lowercase kind of wackiness to it, and not over the top. It's still easy to read, but I like, you know, when he says, because when she asks his name to Batman, because she says Bo as in B-O-W, and then I was like, no, it's not, it's Bow. And he's just like, Clown Hunter, I'm Clown Hunter. Like, I think the lettering and the art did a really good job here of telling me that he's trying to convince himself as she says that. And I think it got across as much as I'll critique that there's too many artists on this book right now, and I don't know if it's just because they had to try and make sure all these issues get out before Future State kicked in. But so there was maybe this rush to the finish line and yada yada yada. I do think the art in that panel does a really good job of telling me and giving me a sense of his mood, his tone, how he's feeling in the moment. I can imagine him quivering as he's saying that line, as he's trying to convince himself.
It's almost like a murmur.
Yeah.
Right?
But she talks about how Joker kind of, like, you know, manipulated her and got into her underskin and so on and so on. But she basically says, yeah, if you want to kill me right now, I deserve it, you can do it. And it has to be your choice. And, you know, it does almost the tropey thing of like him swinging the knife, but then the next page, he's not hurt her, he's just stabbed the table, and he's like, leave me alone, and goes off. And that's been Ghostmaker.
That's another thing. But so that whole section with Harley talking him down and going through and being like, look, I can only apologize so much because I can't excuse myself for being around Joker. Like, that was all stuff I did, you know. But the fact that, like, Ghostmaker had set up almost a trap that Clown Hunter was supposed to kill Harley, so then he could kill Clown Hunter to teach Bruce a lesson about not caring about people. And like in a way, like it seems super convoluted, but I think that's the best like boiled down version of the difference between Ghostmaker
as far as villain plans and comic books go, it's not that bad in terms of convolution.
No.
And because sometimes we have to like accept some serious hoop jumping that the villain's plan, like so many things have to fall in place. At the very least here, they've clearly set up that Clownhorn wants to kill Harley. So if Ghostmaker's going to put him in a room with Harley and Harley's tied down, he's going to kill her. It was a fair assumption on his part. I'll accept that. I'll accept that part of it.
Yeah. So I like that, and then it's just the whole fight with Batman, which I'm always a fan of Batman, just the cowl, like the Ra's al Ghul kind of look. He's got the cowl on, the bear shirt, like it is a cool look, but just a sword fight that amounts to nothing, and it just feels, it feels a little bit more off because Tynan doesn't do this type of stuff usually, right?
Yeah,
like, even to Joker and all of this, it definitely there's an abrupt stop here because I would say Future State's coming.
Maybe this was supposed to be a 5 or 6 issue arc, and that had to be shortened to 4. So, but the fight ends kind of abruptly with Batman throwing down his sword and essentially saying, we don't have to fight. They kind of almost like banter a little bit like their old days kind of thing, and I hate that that's a thing that they can go to because I don't like that he was retconned into the past. But he does. Ghostmaker saying, I was always jealous of the cars. Like he got a new car, and Batman sort of say, I'm building one, blah blah. But it's kind of the whole idea that they are kind of still old friends in some way. Again, I hate that they can do that because I don't think it's earned, and I hate this retconning of big major characters into his past. Because I don't mind when they do like a day in the life of when he was like 12 or something like that, and just like fill out some of the details. But it's when they add in whole new like characters, whole new caveats, and like these big life changing things that can come back later. It really irks me. When they do like, this is how Bruce celebrated his birthday when he was 13. I'm okay with that because these days existed. Like there has to be time in there that can be filled in with small stories if you want to do them. But when you make a whole character like this who's going to pop back up later, and we're supposed to have this reverence of the time they've spent together from before he became Batman, it just feels phony to me. So
because we haven't had any time of them really together. There's just been these little snapshots. So it's not like we had an arc before this where Tynan had taken the time to be like, if there was a becoming Batman arc, right, where they're going off together and they get to know each other, and then we don't know him as Ghostmaker yet, right? And then this Ghostmaker character shows up, and then they have their issues, and we've had an arc to digest. Because, like, again, this is similar to stuff that happened in Detective, right? The whole first victim stuff and all that, him playing with the past, but at least there it felt earned because we had the Clayface tie. Well, right?
I think that's a bit different though, because that's like a bystander of Batman's early career, whereas this is a whole character he had a relationship with before he became Batman. I don't even know if a whole arc building him up first would be enough. I think it would still irk me that it's all just designed to introduce this character so that he has a history with someone in present day. When I think, like, give me a character who Batman meets for the first time, and give me a convincing story where it ends with him saying, you know what, maybe you being around is good for me. I'm going to give you a chance. If you don't kill anyone, you can actually criticize me, and we can do this in some way and go forward from here.
Right.
It relying on them knowing each other from the past just feels really cheap to me, and it's never not going to. I mean, I'll accept what comes next and sort of like, okay, what is the status quo now? How does the relationship work? But right now, it's this part of it's an uphill battle. Obviously, I love the Harley stuff in this issue. I love the Bat family kind of like waiting to swoop in, but they never do, of course. But I mean, at the very least, I do think the final page with like they hear there's my radio's picked up that there's a hostage situation somewhere, and they kind of like I bet I can get there before you can. Like the idea of a competitive, spirited Batman for a little bit is kind of an interesting idea to explore.
Oh yeah, just because I'm tired of tortured Batman, so sure, let him have this,
Yeah, I hate the retconning of the character into the story, and I'll try not to complain about it too much going forward. But this was the arc that introduced the whole thing, so you're getting my complaints here at thick and fast. So you may accept it. yeah, a lot of artists.
Yeah,
Different styles. It's jarring in places. I mean, it's not as bad as was it the last issue where the style changed so much
so
from a
much.
page
Yeah,
turn?
like you're getting
Yeah.
whiplash.
This wasn't as jarring as that by any means,
Right.
not even close. But definitely, like I accept that you can't have the same artist on a book the whole time. Although maybe with single shipping there it'll be more possible. But having different artists in the same book is always going to be an issue, unless it's divided neatly with like the flashbacks have a different artist or whatever. And that might be true here, but there's 4 artists on this book, so there's not 4 different things to put them on.
Right.
So, there you go. Do you have any other thoughts on?
No, that was. I just
art?
wanted to praise the Harley stuff in the middle because I really thought that was good. The art was better in there. So because there's that one panel with her and the Joker, and it just looks not so good. But
And the classic.
I like the.
Yeah, she has the classic outfit on. Yeah.
Yeah, but I appreciate what they were going for. Definitely, I think that part really did work. So, but yeah.
All right, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give this one a 7. Like it's I guess it's fine. The art is a bit of a headache, but the rest of it, outside of the Ghostmaker thing, I think was handled pretty okay.
I don't know. I'll go with a 6, maybe. I think the retconning of the backstory with this character and that being kind of what it relies on to like have this resolution just makes the whole thing a bit sour. Even though I do really like the Harley stuff, and I do like the shaking up what Batman's attitude is going to be for at least a couple of arcs. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll be back to this in March. We've got 2 months of future state shenanigans next, but we'll see.